Marvel Rivals has ranked problems, or does it? Today's video, we're going to be talking about the Marvel Rivals rank system, where it can improve, where it can't. A lot of people on X have been talking about, there's Twitter, whatever you want to call it, right? Have been talking about the issues with the Marvel Rivals rank system and the quality of the matchmaking. It's been a big discussion, really, since Season 0. Again, like, open queue is always going to be a fiesta, right? It's going to be a fiesta, but I think that's also what makes the game fun, is playing Marvel Rivals has made me fall in love with open queue once again. That is, really with bans. You kind of have to have bans or the meta would solidify so quick. And, you know, there are frustrating comps to run into, but again, open queue with bans has been great. But, you know, the rank system has sparked a ton of controversy in Marvel Rivals. I'd say it's one of the hottest topics, and they have tried to really tackle it by adding ranks like Celestial, talking about doing a mid-season reset and then not doing it, right, because of the community feedback. The Marvel Rivals devs are listening, but I want to give my thoughts and really give some credence to a lot of the issues that I think are valid when we talk about the Marvel Rivals rank system. Now, a lot of this conversation sparked from this graph, which take with a grain of salt, because a lot of people are saying that based off the percentiles that the actual game is literally telling you for rank distribution, that this graph is not accurate. But, I mean, you can see the semblance of what issues people would have. Primarily, Boger tweeted this out. Boger, again, another Overwatch veteran. It's been great to see him kill it in the content creation space. Dude's a G. Shout out Bulgaria, right? Shout out Bulgaria. But no, I mean, he makes a good point where he says having players start out in bronze rank is a bad experience for everyone, right? And I kind of agree with him. Like, you could have negative win rates, it seems like, and you can climb up ranks. Like, a lot of people are getting to ranks, and you could say, though, to be honest, I don't know if that's the ranked system. I think that's just the nature of some of the characters in the game. Rocket Raccoon is the most impactful, easy character I have ever seen in a shooter game. Ever. There's zero requirement in terms of skill set to get value on a Rocket Raccoon. He's got the tiny hitbox. He can heal his whole team just by right-clicking. I mean, the existence of zero damage Rocket should tell you everything you need to know. There shouldn't be a character that AoE heals like he does with the res on the beacon and the ult, which is actually much better than people think. The Rocket ult can combo through almost any like tanky support ult if you have a Namor. If you have something like that that it can combo with, it actually is really, really good. I would argue that that's actually character design more so than the actual system, because a lot of those players who are climbing like tend to, you know, be OTPs on easier characters, which you can't really stop. That's not really a fault of the ranked system, but putting players in bronze instead of trying to like start them in gold with an accurate placement system, say, hey, you lose this match, we're going to put you against silver, see how you perform. Really a lot like Overwatch 1. To be honest with you, I think Overwatch 1's ranked system was probably the best ranked system I've seen. And I know they've made some upgrades to the ones in Overwatch 2, but, you know, like, to me, I still kind of preferred that original ranked system from Overwatch. I think the icons were better. We won't talk about that too much here today, but, you know, it's a good point. Like, that's not a good user experience to start games in bronze. And I will say, Marvel Rivals has some of the most uncarryable games I've ever seen. Like, you know, there have been games where I've been in bronze or silver and my team will troll. And again, you can't win every game. You can't win every game, but like, they clearly have like 4 platinums or diamonds that are on fresh accounts, and I've got players who are actually bronze. And you can't solve that 100%. But what you need to look to do is mitigate, right? That system where you start everyone in bronze at bronze 1, it's ripe for abuse, and it's hard to get a high quality. I'm not saying they should necessarily change it, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think players should do placements and start around gold, right? And based on how you perform, it could put you up or down and try to more accurately measure? Or what NetEase could be doing, because again, these are the kings of retention. People don't know this, right? Mobile games are king when it comes to player retention. They might say, look, it gives the sense of progression, and mobile games, which is their bread and butter, are all about progression, right? So if you start someone in bronze, that player might get more retention on the game because they feel the sense of climbing more until they get to the part where they're hard stuff. That is a very valid argument too, where they say, hey, this is why we're doing it this way. Like, it gives better player retention. Like, people feel like they're progressing more. Sure, there's going to be lopsided matches, but you're never going to get rid of lopsided matches in the hero shooter genre. You won't. You can't measure what hero is going to be good in what situation. Like, the matchmaker will get too complicated. I think the name of the game, instead of trying to really hammer that down, is to get quick matches. And again, 4 years ago, I would have had a different take. A preferred role queue or something like that. I was one of the biggest advocates for that in Overwatch, but queue times got long, while everywhere else in the industry, it got short, and that really, I think, ended up, I don't want to say hurting the game, because this really is where it comes to trade-offs, and it becomes a very difficult conversation, but I will say, I think my favorite format in the hero shooter genre has been open queue with bans. I think that's where I would go, but I think players just want to play. The hero shooter genre, people play to play their favorite characters. Period, point blank. It's not the systems that make people play. It's not how competitive the game is that make people play. It is the characters and the heroes and hero identity. That is the bread and butter. That's what separates this genre from other genres. That is why people get on and play. Period, point blank. And you can never, ever make a perfect matchmaker. You can't do it. You just can't. It's not possible. So I think if you're them, they're saying, look, we're going to keep our hero identity strong, and we're going to start people in bronze because that's what gives people the most progression. But to be honest, I would like to see them make some changes to that system. I would like to see them maybe start out placements in silver or gold, but I think starting everyone in bronze is just a little ridiculous because the quality of matches down there are going to be all over the place. All over the place. And I think you can make it a little less volatile by getting that system to be a little bit more pinpoint accurate. I guess moving on to the role queue discussion, right? I do want to talk about role queue and role lock here. I think Marvel Rivals Ranked going to a role lock system 2-2-2 would be a terrible, terrible, terrible idea because it did not solve Overwatch's problems. I think it actually put Overwatch down a pretty bad path because the end result was 5v5 role lock with super tanks, and the gameplay loop is way more one-dimensional. It's just a bad outcome. And to be frank, I don't think this game's issues come, or the ranked issues or people getting inconsistent matches stem from role lock or open queue. I don't at all. Like, are you going to have games where you don't get the healers you need? Yes. But even if it was 2-2-2, that same thing might still happen, and just because you have the right comp doesn't mean it solves your problems, right? I think freedom of choice, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think especially for a game that is more casual, Marvel Rivals is a much more casual game than Overwatch is. It just is. The hero designs are crazier. There's way more play for you abilities. It's got a better gameplay loop because of 6v6, in my opinion, even with more sustain in Marvel Rivals. Because there's 2 tanks on the front line a lot of time, or just 1 tank, and like there's an extra player, it allows for way more human error to happen. Even in a game with more stats, crazier abilities, the gameplay loop is way more dynamic. There's more opportunity a lot of the time to create something, which is crazy to say because, like, you know, it's you wouldn't think that's true, but it is. If I'm them, you stay in open queue. This game does not need role lock. Role lock, I think, was one of the decisions that I was wrong about and aged poorly. But this game is just so much more casual. You have way shorter queue times. People are getting on to play their favorite characters, and you have to understand whether that's the perfect team comp or not in a competitive setting. That's your bread and butter, and that's why people come play. So restricting that and restricting different strategy makes the game way more watered down and way more boring, especially when you have bans to help mitigate a broken meta in a lot of the ranks. But I will say this. I think one of the easiest things they could do to improve ranked is hero bans should be in every rank. They should be in every rank because it's about people being able to curate their experience more. Groups of people curating their experience and trying to control their environment makes the game way more dynamic, and I think it would help lower ranked players a lot, especially when going up against Smurfs, going up against different stuff. Say, hey, dude, a Smurf on Hella, and even in quick play, I queued into a Hella cheating, blatantly hacking in quick play, blatantly hacking. It was crazy. You can just ban Hella. I think giving players the ability to get a more refined experience in a less Wild West is the main thing that Marvel Rivals Ranked needs right now. The queue times are okay. The patches have been to be honest. I think the Season 0 patch was the best one because there were only like 3 or 4 big outliers that needed changes, and you could just ban them every game. But like the Cloak and Dagger buffs were a nightmare last season. Even the ones they just gave have me very nervous. A few things to wrap this video up and talking about the Marvel Rivals rank problem. Number 1, let's get some placements going. Let's get everybody out of bronze. I think even starting them at silver would help match quality quite a bit. Think about this. If you're an actual bronze player, which is a smaller part of the population, just to be fair. In Overwatch, that disparity, bronze players are like the same as GM. Like that's not the same as GM, but like it's most of the players are in gold and plat, straight up. That's just where most of them are. If you're an actual bronze player trying to play ranked, it's impossible for you because you're going to be playing players higher ranked than you almost every single game. Almost every single game. And they might not be, GM Smurfs or, top 10% players. But the difference between a bronze player and a gold player is a lot. That is a lot. And you're going to be running into a lot of those people. Getting those players just to high silver to start is just so much better for everybody in the average ranks. And if you're going to D-rank, you're going to D-rank pretty quickly. But the game for like very, very new players, at least in ranked, is unapproachable. It's actually unapproachable. So I think they should change that. Number 2, hero bans in all ranks. I don't see why that shouldn't be there. It's a fun mechanic, and it gives the player the psychology or the thought to curate their experience. It doesn't matter if you're a top-ranked player or a noob. You should still be able to curate your experience. That would be like saying if you had a bunch of money and you were more rich, and when you walked into a restaurant and you paid for the extra whatever, that you could then use the menu. But if you don't, then you just have to take what they give you. No, like let people choose off the menu. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that, and that makes players feel much better about their experience. And then number 2, you kind of have to ask, what was the point of Celestial? Do we need it? I don't know. I guess I'm going to leave that as a question. I'm unsure how to feel about Celestial. I thought it was cool at first. There was one time I was in Celestial, but other than that, I've been in like Eternity, like 100 plus or something like that. 100, like 250-ish in that range. But yeah, no, so like, what do you guys think about a lot of stuff? What are some of the biggest problems the rank system has for you? And no roll lock. Roll lock would be a mistake. It's a bad idea. The freedom of choice in a casual game, because this game is more casual, is what makes it fun. And I think increasing queue times would be the worst decision Marvel Rivals could make. Keep it open, keep it fun, add the hero bans, let people curate their experience. What do you guys think? What are the biggest problems Marvel Rivals Ranked has in your mind? Let me know down below. Like this video, hit that sub button if you're new for more Marvel Rivals discussion videos. We're going to be talking about Overwatch and Marvel Rivals as well. The hero shooter genre is my bread and butter. Maybe some general gaming news as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Catch y'all next time. Much love. Take care. Peace out.